Welcome back to the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, and I have my guru, my beloved bruised guru on today. That is none other than Coach Van Pettaway. How you doing today, Coach?
Well, I can just say that I'm bruised, battered, but I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The Texas trip was not very good for my beloved Bulldogs, but my hat's off to the Prairie View Panthers. They did what they were supposed to do last night, and they really showed that for right now, you all are the king of the hill.
Okay, well, we'll let you still be the original here. We're just the perfected here. So we'll keep it in perspective, and we'll talk a little bit more about the standings a little bit later on. But it's hard to believe, Coach, that we're coming to the midway point of the basketball season.
Right. And then what is really showing on both sides is that the teams that they predicted at the beginning, they're showing a little light. On the women's side, we know it's a clean knockout, but on the men's side, things are shaping up right now at the midway point. And some of the teams that they expected to be toward the top, they're climbing.
Yes, they are. Now, Coach, we don't normally do this with basketball, but I figured since it's the mid time of the season, what about a mid-term grade for these programs, starting off with the women, then leading to the men?
Okay, well, we could do that, and I tell you what, we'll do then, and we'll just do it in alphabetical order. All right.
Okay, that's fine.
Alabama A&M will be up first. On the women's side, we're going to give my Lady Bulldogs a C- because they were expected to do a lot better than where they are right now. So they get a C-.
Well, I'm going to be generous and give a straight C, sir. I'm going to give a straight C.
All right. Next up will be Alabama State. And unfortunately for the Lady Hornets, they're going to get a D. I'm not going to give anybody an F, but they get a D.
Okay, just because of the struggles a little bit there, Coach?
Yes.
Well, and I figured, like I say, it's midterm. I'm gonna still stay nice. I'm feeling good. I'm gonna give a C-.
Okay. Next up will be Alcorn State. Alcorn State got a chance to see them in person. I'm going to give them a C right now.
Well, you're a little bit more generous than I am right about now. I'm going to give them a C-. I'm going to give them a C-.
Okay. Next up will be Bethune-Cookman, and they'll get the first B. I think they're showing that their preseason was not a joke, so they get a B.
Yes, sir. I'm giving a B as well. Very consistent, and I'm liking their non-conference schedule, which has prepared them for where they are now.
Right. All right. Next up will be the Florida A&M Rattlers, and the Rattlers they're going to have to get a C- from me because I thought more of out of their program.
Right. There was much more expectancy coming out of it, and like I said, I'm being generous. I'm giving a C- as well. I give a. Well, I won't let that alert out just yet. I was going to give a little flash alert, but I'm gonna stick with a C-.
Okay. Next up will be the women from Grambling State University. I'm going to give them. They'll get a B in my book. They get a B+ because they've hit it right at an A.
Okay. I'm at the B factor. I'm still liking. I like both the men and women's program and how they've been very stable these last few years.
Yep. And then next up in alphabetical order, the number one team for the last 3 or 4 years, Jackson State University, they get an A.
Can they get an A++, Coach? Hey, man, them women, and not in a bad way, but they scare me, man. They scare me. Good night on nurse. Yep.
All right, and then next up will be Mississippi Valley, and the Valley, they'll get a C- out of me.
I'm gonna give them a C-. Like I said, I'm being generous, but they start off so good, and I'm wondering, is it depth is the issue for Valley at this stage of the game?
Right, and that's part of the reason why I've graded them so generously. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I think it's resources. All right, next up are your Prairie Panthers. All right, with PV, I'm going to give Coach Pugh and her charges, I'm going to give them a C, a straight C.
Yes, sir. We're on the same page, man. What they call them, the telepathic messages are coming across because they are good enough to be concerned, but frustrated enough to make you say, "What's going on?"
Right. And then next up will be Southern University. Now, if your Panthers got a straight up C, Southern has to get a C minus.
Okay.
In my book.
I'm sticking with a C with them. I'm sticking with a C. I know Sanchez is always a lot expected out of Southern, but they are a little bit short, but they still are a dangerous squad, in my opinion.
Right, I think they're a dangerous squad, but I just think that they have fallen below their expectations of this squad this year. That's why I gave them a minus. All right, next up will be Texas Southern. Texas Southern will get, we're going to stay in the C range. They'll also get a C from me.
I'm giving them a C minus with the big rival game coming up this weekend. I see. I might drop it to a Z, but I'm okay. They still kind of got some growing pains going, so I'm gonna give them a C minus. I'm not gonna be too harsh.
All right, and then last but not least, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. They're going to get the other B out of me. I think they've done an outstanding job. They've shown that their preseason also was not a joke, so they will get a B out of me.
I'm giving them a B plus, Coach. I like what old Dawn Brown Thornton is doing. And look, when she's hot, and she's going to let you know she's in the house, and she's having a lot of fun. And it's just good to see that enthusiasm at Golden Line Country.
All righty. So that concludes the women's side. Now, are you ready for the midterm grades for the men?
I believe I am, sir. I believe I am.
Okay, we'll do it the same way. We'll go in alphabetical order, and that means that my Bulldogs, Alabama A&M, they're up first, and they get a C minus.
I'm with you on that one, C minus as well. But I'm so glad that they came in at that C minus because even though we won, we still neck and neck almost in standings. So I give them C minus as well. I agree with that.
Okay. And then next up will be Alabama State. And I'm going to be honest now, Alabama State, they're going to get an A in my book. I think that they have shown that they are one of the surprise teams of this league. They were not picked high in the preseason poll, but they're showing their might coming out the gate.
And because of those very factors, Coach, no one in their right mind outside that Hornet camp saw this coming. And I'm going to give them an A+ for midterm right now.
Okay. And then next up will be Alcorn State University. And the Braves are going to get a C from me.
A little bit of a struggle. Now, there were greater expectations for Alcorn. You were expecting Alcorn to kind of be where you see Alabama State.
Correct.
So I'm with you on that as far as a C is concerned.
Okay. Next up will be Bethune-Cookman. I'm going to give them I'll give them a B minus because they were not expected to do too well. They're above 500. They had some great preseason wins, so I'm pretty good with that.
Well, that's why I'm going to give them a C. Because of the preseason wins, I was anticipating a little bit more of a jump, but they hit that SWAC gamut, and they've been a little bit of a struggle, so I'm going to give them a C.
Right. And next up will be Florida A&M. The Rattlers will get a C minus from me. They're about where the prognosticators put them, so they'll get a C minus. Right,
C minus. We're being generous again, but if they continue on, that C minus, that D is breathing heavy on their neck.
Yeah, absolutely. And next up will be the G-men of Grambling. they're going to get a B from me because they're about where the expectations going into the season had them. So Grambling will get a B from me.
Jackson's one of my favorite coaches. I love how when he first came in, and he just took him, put his own identity on that program, and I'm agreeing with you. B is a good mark in the midterm.
Okay. Next up will be Jackson State. Now, before this weekend, they had a higher grade, but for some reason they didn't study well for this exam, so they're going to get a C out of me.
Yeah, they kind of fishtail just a little bit, Coach. Yeah. I don't know what was going on, but I'm with you. I'm not going to give them a C minus. I give them a C. Because they still got some good pieces though, Coach. That's the crazy thing about it.
Yep. Absolutely. And next up, Mississippi Valley. And there's not much that can be said about Mississippi Valley other than I'm going to be generous with this. I'm going to give them a C minus.
Yes, I'm with you, C minus. Just because, like I said, with the women, they are extremely feisty, especially in that first half. But, man, if you can only play one half, you would have a heck of a thing working. It's just depth, I think. I don't even necessarily think about size per se, Coach, because you can adjust your game skills and sets with the size and difference, but they just don't have the depth, man.
Right. And then next up in alphabetical order will be your Prairie View Panthers. And right now, I'm going to have to give Coach Smith a C. Your Panthers are, but I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, though. So they get a C.
I'm giving a C minus because of some inconsistencies. Just talked about the size factor. They don't have a true postman, in my opinion. So they're doing a lot of guard play. But sometimes they're not taking the higher percentage shots, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to give them a C minus.
Right. And then next up, Southern University. They're going to get the first A on the men's side. They a first-year coach, got Southern at the top of the league. They get an A from me.
Yes, sir. No doubt about it. And to me, it almost don't matter who's coaching that Southern men's program. They're going to always put a quality product out there on the floor. So I'm with you on the A as that's concerned.
Right. Next up will be Texas Southern, a team that will be coming into into the Baby Dome this weekend. Texas Southern is on the move. I'm going to give Coach Johnny Jones a B minus.
I'm right at a B with Johnny Jones, and I hate that because Purview's at a C minus. And we're gonna have to give up extra food to slow them down or something come Saturday in the hospitality room or something. But they're starting to peak at the worst time if you're a Panther fan.
Yep. And then last but not least, Arkansas Pine Bluff. I'm gonna give them. I'll give them a C.
Okay, Coach, I'm going to have to give him a C minus.
Okay.
I'm going to have to give him a C minus. Not that I was expecting that much from Pine Bluff, but I was expecting a little bit more than what I've seen thus far. But, you know, to each his own. So we got those midterms out the way, and these are just midterms. They're not final grades, so we'll see how they come out in the final stretch. But I do need to share this with you, Coach. The conversation that we had last week about your vision about that tournament lit this place on fire, man. Man, that was awesome what Coach said and how he was breaking it down. And I tell him all the time, I can't take credit, man. That's the guru. All I do is shut up and be quiet, and we all learn from it. But it went over with great reviews, Coach, about that deal, and we need to see what you can do, man, and put that into fruition, man.
Well, yeah, I just think it's something that's long overdue, and we'll just have to see, man. With the powers to be, Everybody just got to put their heads together and see if we can make something happen, because you've always had a situation where football was being recognized, and I think it's time for basketball to be recognized.
Well, what's happening, and I did some shows on this week. In particular, two institutions, and people have a tendency to have not be a glaring attention, but what's going on with Arizona and what's going on with University of Loyola Marymount, we need to be paying very close attention to, because everything trickles down, right? And are we to the point to where we might have to consider trimming some of our funded and supported sport programs?
Right. That's a big issue, and it's not just those two. Did you see where they're saying that there was another Power 5 that just came out this week saying that they were in a deficit in
Yes.
terms of their athletic program, and I don't want to think it was LSU, but it was somebody that shocked me, where they said that they were running a deficit.
I was going over another report. There were only 18 athletic programs in the nation that reported a profit. I want you to let that sink in, Coach.
That is amazing. With as much money as they put into their program. I'm not going to be accusing anyone, but somebody cooking some books, man. You can't tell me that with all this mad money that's going around, but I've always paid attention and noticed, and you probably would notice this as well. Isn't it ironic how if you made $5,466 in revenue, you spent $5,466 in expenses? Yep.
And so they always want to balance out, and it's no hidden secret that collegiate athletics, with its initial conception, was not designed to be profitable. It was designed as an extracurriculum for school spirit, but it has turned into a money machine. And so when you look at the detail of the books, how do they circumvent those overtures? Coaches' salaries, spending it on this, that, and the other, and going in, and then they hollering about the NIL and the effect of possibly making student athletes employees. Somebody cooking some books, Coach.
Right.
They always say follow the money.
Right. I'm going to tell you something else that you need to keep your eye on. You're going to see these universities come up with more and more reports about them going under, and I think it's because that's their way of trying to point a finger at the NIL. What they're going to do, they're going to say that, the NIL is taking money away from the university. To giving this money to the athletes, that money normally would be going to the university. Now it's going into the athlete's pocket. I think that they're going to try to tie that in some kind of way so that they can try to reel in what's happening with this NIL. Not stop it, just reel it in.
Well, they can't stop something that has been going forever. NIL is just a new facelift for what the big boys have been doing for years.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking about the coach from DePaul who got relieved of duties, and they said because the way the team was going, that it would affect any possible NIL deals that the players could get. They had about $500,000 reported, and they said in their conference of the Big East, they were 1.5 million behind the 8 ball because of the horrible coaching. So that was justifiable means for them to get rid of their coach. And I'm going like, good night. Where is this thing going to end?
Right. Well, if they're doing that at DePaul, what's going to happen at Louisville? Because Payne can't get out of his way up there with the Cardinals, so he better be looking out, because that same thing may happen to him. They may use the same verbiage to get him.
Right. Well, it's obvious that whenever they say we don't have enough, the magically money appears, which there's old saying, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yep.
But when I look at these big pictures, I always have to bring it back home. And what kind of cause and effect will it have on our programs directly? Now, I'm a big component that I wouldn't mind if they restructure the Division I qualifications to where you need maybe 10 or 12 athletic programs to be considered D1, knowing with the way expenses have gone up. You know, it's one thing to say you got it. In Purview's case, we have 18 sports, okay, and I asked the question, which sport would be probably the sacrificial lambs if you had to cut down to 10 to 12 sports? Not that you want to cut any sports, but which sport could you absolutely say, okay, we can actually make it without that particular sport?
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you what would throw a monkey wrench in that. Title IX. Title IX, because of football, your numbers on the women's side are going to have to remain high because you got to balance off what the numbers that the football team is putting on the field. So I think at all universities, if you went to a model like that, you would end up with more female sports than male sports if your university has a football team. Because
well, my whole thing
you have to balance off the number of participants.
My whole thing is this, Coach. Do you have to have football?
Oh, come on. Doc, they will run us. Doc, they will run in the state of Texas,
they might.
In the Texas and the state of Alabama. If you and I were to propose that they get rid of football, we would both have to move. We might have to change states.
we might have to change states. We might have to change states, Coach. But let's look at it in the mirror. It's more of a reality than just lip service when we talk about return on investment. Okay, just for a subpar football team, all the money that you have to spend and all the players that are involved and all the personnel that's involved, just hypothetically speaking, if you offer men and women's basketball, you can offer volleyball, you can offer women's soccer, you can offer baseball, you can offer softball. And then you can fill out with your track and fields, and that would give you your balance of acquiring the 10 to 12 teams without going bankrupt. Going bankrupt. Okay, now it seems harsh. It sounds mighty unfair, and somebody that's hearing this probably done shut me off right now, but it's going to be okay. And I know I love me some football. But if I keep going in the hole, Coach, I can't buy a car just because I can make the car note payment. Don't mean I can afford the car. I got to be able to afford the maintenance that goes with that car, the insurance, and all the responsible requirements of being a car owner.
Right.
We have to look at the big picture. You know, we have football. We have football. For what? At what cost? What expense? It's just something to look at, Coach.
Right. But in terms of the sports that you named, that that means that every basketball program would have to be profitable in order for this model to work. Yeah.
You can make it more profitable with basketball instantly in comparison to football, because with your big money games as far as the payday games in football are in the rearview mirror as we know it now, Coach. That's coming to an end quick. Okay, and we could get some tournaments and even some stepping up out of conference games to compensate that in basketball.
That's a model, but you still would not generate the amount of money that you would with football games, though. So that's why I'm saying. Well, I mean, what you're saying is practical, but they're not going to do that. You know, there's.
Well, I know they're not going to do it, Coach, but it's good to talk about it and be logical about it. You know, if they're trying to scratch their heads and figure out, well, how are we going to get to where we need to be? Look at the elephant in the room, guys.
Yeah.
Look at the elephant in the room. You know, I'm just saying, and even you could trim back. They say, well, how can you trim back more? Some of these football programs have multiple uniforms, unnecessary. You know, even the way we build in our stadiums. If you're going to build stadiums, let's say, for instance, in Texas, why build an outdoor stadium in Texas when you're only playing 4 or 5 games out the year? Put a dome on that joke and make it a multi-purpose building.
Okay. Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Sense. That makes sense.
But, you know, right. So there have to be creative approaches to how you offset some of these things. You know, and there's nothing wrong with having nice amenities, you know, to attract students and athletes and coaches, but we have to be wise about how we're handling what resources we have available.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's going to be, it's going to take a big outside-the-box thinking for something like that to happen.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Look, and if we don't have to get rid of football altogether, I'll make you chuckle on this. Maybe you start playing flag football. They're doing it in the Pro Bowl. You know, it's not getting rid of football altogether, but you got to do something that's going to help offset it. And I know they say, well, you know, football brings in the most, but it costs the most too.
Yeah.
If you set your budgets up, because you work with budgets more than I have, okay, your football budget is what it is, your basketball budget is what it is, and you go out there and you're doing what you can to raise your budget. Sometimes they tapped you on your shoulder, or while your head was turned in the other direction, they slid money from your department to help the other department out that already should have been carrying their own weight.
Right,
you know,
that's been a big struggle. That's been a big struggle at our institutions. Keeping that athletic budget, keeping the money for athletics in the budget without it going to some of these other programs and you know, on the educational side. So that's
right.
That's a big thing. So that's why we've always said you got to be creative, have creative finances to help supplement your athletic department. You got to.
And the word that I've been dreading the most, culture. If we really be honest with this challenge, not just us, but abroad, if you get more involvement with your student body, alumni and local, there's no need to go all across the country to try to find money. You got to build that fan interest, as you referred to on this show on more than one occasion, within. You got to build that fan interest within.
Right. That's true. And they're finding more ways to try to raise money or get money. One of the things, listening to watching your broadcast last night, I saw where they kept promoting the watch party for football signing. You know, the $30 ticket, and I'm like, well, that's unique because here in this area, they don't even charge for that. They let them in free, so that might be another way of creating a revenue stream.
Well, they say desperate times calls for desperate measures, right? So you gotta do what you got to do to try to make it work. Well, and speaking of desperate times and desperate measures, Coach, and you brought up the watch party, we still got a week or so before this thing is officially launched off. But I don't know about you, man. I cannot speak against Mr. Patrick Mahomes again.
Oh, please. Please.
I can't do it.
I know it. I'm sitting here now, still licking my wound because I thought this would be Lamar's chance to show that he is the one. But no, Patrick Mahomes, I think right now, he just is a different stratosphere. He's doing things that we just haven't seen in a while. And if this guy can win his third Super Bowl before the age of 30, we better look out. Tom Brady's record is in jeopardy if he can win in a couple of weeks. And I think he has an excellent chance of winning this game.
Coach, even if he wins this one or don't win it and never make it back to the Super Bowl, this man has already had a Hall of Fame career.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm calling him Baby Goat because he's still playing.
Mm-hmm.
The man is just unbelievable. And it appears that it's effortless, man, the way he's out there on the field in comparison to his counterparts.
Right,
and,
right.
And in the same breath, I have to give Brock Purdy his acknowledgments too. Everybody keeps saying, well, he's a system quarterback. Well, all quarterbacks are system quarterbacks.
Yep.
If your system sucks, then your quarterback is going to suck. And if both of them suck, then you're really going to have a hard time trying to win games.
Right.
So
don't they design their offenses around their
yes.
Quarterback's ability? All
Absolutely.
of them are system quarterback, yes.
Right. But the man, well, he was Mr. Irrelevant. He had enough talent to make it to the league. So you can't underestimate, who, what, and how he operates. The man just finds a way to get it done. But in that same breath, he's not a Patrick Mahomes. He's not a Mr. Patrick Mahomes.
Nope.
And I'm torn between. I hope it's a competitive game. I'm not going to pick one or the other. I'm going to just sit back and enjoy this one, Coach. But Mr. Mahomes, he won't have me going against him ever again.
Right. It's tough to bet against that guy, man. He gets he finds a way. He finds a way. And with the Swiftie Nation following them, it's going to be tough to beat them.
Well, that's a whole nother element, man. And I didn't realize, Coach, because, I've heard of her, but they say this woman has 279 million followers on Instagram.
Yep.
Coach, that's the entire nation. That's the entire nation, man. What is going on?
Well, they're talking about how the numbers have gone up since she has started attending football games. They have brought in that demographic that had nothing to do with football, because her followers are following football now. They're buying the merchandise. They're watching the games just to get that 5 or 10 seconds that she's on the screen, and it's working for the NFL right now.
Man, American Airlines just announced Taylor Swift was born in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
They got flights going from Kansas City to Vegas, flight 1989.
Wow.
And Kelsey's number 87, and they got flights returning from Las Vegas to Kansas City, flight 87. Going, man, these folks that's why they make the mogul dollars that they make, Coach. But this is totally insane, man.
Yes,
totally insane.
Yep.
So with all that, Coach, while the insanity is going on, we're going to try to keep our sanity with what's going on throughout our beloved Southwestern Athletic Conference. And I did want to drop another football note in. FAMU finally decided on their football coach. And I think it was a good – they stayed in-house, which was very good with what you had already left behind to continue to try and move forward for 2024.
Right. I think it's a great hire. Number one, the players wanted this. The players wanted Coach. And then you're going to have continuity because, he's been there. He's been under Coach Simmons. And so I think it was a great hire.
Yeah, it's a great hire, and we're going to see what can be built upon it and see how the other teams adjust. A lot of movement within the conference, and we'll talk about that soon enough. But we're high gearing now, man. We're halfway through this basketball season. Before you know it, Coach, we'll be in Birmingham doing some SWAC basketball tournaments.
Right, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, it was a great week this past week in the SWAC. I think last Monday on the women's side, Texas Southern beat Alabama A&M 61-55. Jackson State went into Daytona Beach and took care of Bethune-Cookman 81-65, and then Florida A&M, to me, they reared their head and they beat Alcorn State 60-56. Grambling hosted Mississippi Valley and beat them 81-71. Your Panthers, in a close game, they beat Alabama State 46-43. And then this was a mild upset. Arkansas Pine Bluff went into Southern and beat Southern 74-59. And then that led us up to last night, where Bethune-Cookman took care of Alcorn 66-58. Jackson State showed their dominance once again on the women's side, beating Florida A&M 79-60. And then Arkansas Pine Bluff went into Grambling. A lot of people didn't see this one, winning 56-49. And then Southern took care of Mississippi Valley 64-45. And then your Panthers took care of Alabama A&M 65-59. And then Alabama State, which was an upset to me, went into Texas and beat Texas Southern, went into Houston and beat Texas Southern 62-55. And that's all on the women's side. And then when you look at the standings, I think it's everybody's falling in line to try to finish second or third. Jackson State is leading on the women's side, 7-0, 7-0. Then you got Grambling State and Pine Bluff. They're both at 5-2. Then you got the log jam between Bethune-Cookman, Prairie View, and Southern. They're all at 4-3. So the women's side is they're playing catch up. They're playing catch up to Jackson State. And then that's the thing that's happening on the women's side, and then on the men's side, it's a little bit different. It's a title race, and it started out with last Saturday, where my Bulldogs went to Texas Southern, and Texas Southern won that game 85-69. Bethune-Cookman, to me, this was the game of the week. Bethune beat Jackson State 82-71, and this is where the wheels start coming off of Jackson State. And then down in Tallahassee, Alcorn beat Florida A&M 76-67. Grambling hosted Mississippi Valley and beat them 54-46 in a close game. And then this was, I thought, was a very good game. Alabama State beat your Panthers 74-67, and then Southern played host to Pine Bluff and beat them 80-66, and that led us to last night. Where Texas Southern beat Bama State 56-55. Southern took care of Mississippi Valley 78-54. Pine Bluff, and I thought this was an upset, went into Grambling and beat Grambling 86-70. And this definitely was an upset where Florida A&M beat Jackson State 80-86. And then, of course, Alcorn went into Daytona Beach and beat Bethune 70-67 on a game that was on ESPN2. And then, of course, I'm still licking my wounds. Your Prairie View Panthers beat my Bulldogs 87-76. And so there were some great games this weekend. And then when you look at the men's standing, Southern, Alabama State, and Grambling State are all 5-2. They better look out. Texas Southern is rearing their ugly head. They're 5-3. And then Bethune-Cookman, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Jackson State, Alcorn are all 4-3. So there's no clear-cut favorite on the men's side. There's going to be a lot of great basketball that we're going to be seeing coming up?
Now you see why I had Purdue at that C-, Coach, because it's a tall rough. And, Coach, I have to correct you. Ain't nothing good about Purdue losing to Alabama State. Tell me it was a good game. It was not a good game. We lost. So we got what we got in the second half. It's going to be a tale of two sides, really, because Purdue, as we mentioned, will be taking on Texas Southern. But they have that makeup game on February 5th, that Monday, against Arkansas Pine Bluff, both men and women. So Purdue have to play catch-up to get back into the thick of things. So with all that, Coach, we covered a lot of ground as usual, man, and it was not a dull moment. I want to give you some closing thoughts and comments, sir, as we get ready to wrap this segment up, sir.
Well, I'm looking forward to the games this week, and there are two games that I have on tap on the men's side. The Battle of Texas Southern. You all hosted Texas Southern. And then I think the other game is going to be Grambling and Jackson State. That game is going to be played up in Newark, New Jersey. That's part of a classic where they'll be playing up there. So we are going to have some great basketball down the stretch, and I would like to continue to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. We're putting a lot of information out there. The public needs this, and you're doing an outstanding job with that, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Well, sir, we're happy to have you as usual. Thank you for all that you do on and off the court and throughout your community. This man, ladies and gentlemen, does a whole lot more than what you would ever begin to understand. There used to be an Army commercial. We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day. And that is definitely him, the guru, Coach Van Pettaway. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, reminding you guys to follow me on X at The Mike Prince Show, subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and visit our website, obnradio.com. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.